welcome to another episode of Jaclyn is Gardening. This is a monthly tour that I give you showing you around my garden, what plants I am seed starting, things in my greenhouse, and all of the changes that are happening in my Brooklyn garden. If this is your first time watching, thank you for joining me. You can find me on Instagram as @JaclynSalem. And I hope you enjoy. I have a few things that I purchased this month, which I will show you as I install it. It's an irrigation system finally, so that's very exciting. I'm just looking for as many things as possible that I can do to automate the process and make sure that this is sustainable for me. I'm in my apartment right now because I'm going to take you to my propagation station where I have all of my seed starts. Then I will show you my greenhouse, and then we will end with a tour in the garden, of course. April has been my favorite month so far just because there's so much happening out there right now. Things are so lush and green, and I could not be more grateful that I started a garden this year, especially in the wake of coronavirus. So I hope you guys are all staying safe and entertaining yourselves, and if you haven't started a garden, it's a great way to do so, I think. So yeah, I could not recommend it more. It just gives you something to look forward to. So that's kind of the story here, and yeah, let's go take a look. Here we have Propagation Station, which is looking very lush and jungly at the moment. I've turned off the grow lights to make it easier for you to see, but these are all of the chili peppers that I have. As I've mentioned in previous videos, not all of these are going out into the garden. There are several of each variety that I have as backups in case one fails in the garden, and if I have any extras, then they'll go to neighbors. You might notice, I can't remember, it depends on what they looked like in the last video, I'd have to go back and see, but they might look a little bit shorter than they did in the last video, and that's because I have topped them. When they start kind of forming, let me see if I can find one, because I've done it to almost all of them at this point, but in the center here, they kind of start forming this like Y, where they kind of branch out and then start producing flowers, which will then turn into chili peppers, and I'm not quite ready for them to be producing peppers yet, number one. And then number two, by topping them, that will give more energy into producing the root system instead of putting that energy into producing the fruit, or the peppers in this case. And then the third reason is that by topping your chilies, it encourages them to bush out. So you can see once I've cut that off, it's started producing shoots from the sides of the stems here. It's woken them up. So by topping it, see this one right here? Let's see if I can focus that for you. It's waking up these side shoots here, and you'll get a bushier plant instead of a really tall, like a very top heavy plant. So this is going to help them in the long run produce stronger root systems, keep them from falling over as much when they're planted in the garden, and make for a stronger, healthier plant. And then over here, I've potted up, as you saw earlier, some dahlias that are loved by the pollinators, the single petal dahlias. I have some marigolds here, some cosmos, and then I planted up a few more cosmos right here because I think I want some more. I'll probably honestly use all of these in the garden. These are really great for companion planting and helping the pollinators. So that's kind of what this is all for. And then on the bottom here, oh my gosh, all of these tomatoes, again, like the chilies, not all of these are going in the garden. There would definitely not be enough space for them. But yeah, I have quite a few. It's just amazing to think that I grew these from seed. Like, I cannot believe it. I've been really motivated in the past couple days to start a garden journal to kind of keep little notes of each. Nothing too detailed, but I just kind of like want to remember certain things about them. For example, Sweet Million and Rosella varieties that I have, they are by far the thirstiest. Like, they dry out the fastest and need water more. So I don't know if that's going to be a trend every year, but I like to, you know, keep notes and see. And the Sun Golds, they fan out like crazy. These things get really, they spread out a lot. So they may not be the tallest ones in the bunch, but they definitely spread out. And then other notes for things like my peppers, the tallest ones by far are the paprika and cayenne peppers, which is interesting because both of those are spice peppers, or used in dried spices, so it's an interesting note. And then the Cubanelles, they are just bursting to set fruit. So even though I've topped all of these, I think at this point, the Cubanelles sprouted up again from their side shoots. This one's not a Cubanelle pepper, and then started trying to flower again. So the Cubanelles are just so ready to go. It's really quite cute. So yes, this is my propagation station right now. So out here in the greenhouse, there are some new things here that were inside, and a lot of these plants are over in the garden. So I have one lone sweet pea. This is one that I was able to propagate from a cutting, which was really fun. I have so many stalks. Panicum Frosted Explosion. These were just potted on today. An extra beet seedling, I might need that. Some onion seedlings here. Some more stalks, flowers, and then we are currently in the process of hardening off the herb garden. So we have lots and lots of basil, chives, we have the purple basil and the Genovese, I can't remember the name, oregano, which is growing like crazy. God, these all smell so good. Sage, more basil, this one kind of needs some help. Cilantro, more sage, cilantro, more basil. Yeah, so some of them, oh, dill back there. These things are growing like crazy. We bought these beautiful planters here to put them into, and then these will be in window boxes outside of our kitchen window. So we won't be taking these to the garden. This is just for us to use here at home, where it'll be most convenient to have them. Now let's head over to the garden and I can show you all of the new things that are happening over there. It's so green. It's so beautiful. Everything is just bursting into life right now. Hello. Andrew and I just got to the garden, and there's been, I don't know if you can see back there on the patio table, a delivery for my watering and irrigation system today. So that's really exciting. We're going to install that in the garden. I will show you that. And then of course, I'm going to show you all of the changes that have been happening. As you can see, lots of stuff has been planted and things are really coming along. This patio furniture is actually my neighbor's. He is the one that has it, so that's not something that I purchased, but he keeps it stored indoors for winter. And Andrew has got a grill so that we can have cookouts out here. So it's actually quite chilly out here today. It's been reliably in the lower 40s at least. Sometimes it gets into the 30s, but that's pretty rare for us now. So I think we are well and truly out of any risk of frost at this point, but still watching the weather. It's definitely not warm by any means. Some days we get up to like the 50s or 60s, but nothing consistent. There have been a lot of changes and work to the base of this mulberry tree here. So yeah, let's take you around my garden for April. The first major change is that we have trimmed some of the lower branches off of this mulberry tree, which is not dead, as you can see. So I was misinformed about that. I'm glad I waited to see what happened. I think it's really good advice that I received from watching a lot of allotment tour videos and just gardening advice, that when you first inherit a space, give it a year, see how it does. This isn't the first year that I have been around this space. This is the second year that I have seen it, but this is the first year that I've been paying enough attention to want to grow anything in it. So I think it's a good idea to just kind of take a year before you start clearing out major established things like a tree or really big bushes or anything like that, just to see what actually exists first, because you might be surprised and it might be something that you want to keep. In the case of this tree though, it does, I'm sure it's going to shade the garden at some points during the day. I've been out here in full sun and it's not been too bad, but we'll see. I have to work with the space that I have. But anyway, the major change is that this was absolutely covered in weeds below it. Some of them like very viney that were like trying to like climb up the tree. So we got rid of the majority of that. And then we did some trimming of the lower branches and then some baby trees that were trying to sprout off of the mulberry tree. So got rid of some of those lower branches. So hopefully it won't shock the tree too much. I do know you're supposed to prune trees in January and February from my New York Botanical Gardens class. So hopefully it didn't shock the tree too much, but we also cleared out a ton of the weeds that were around here, as I mentioned, and I can't wait to plant up this space and have some extra growing space. This wasn't something that I was originally factoring into the space that I had, but since it's not being used, it seemed like a waste. Of course, the tree is going to draw a lot of the nutrients from the soil, so I'm not really sure how it's going to fare, but you know, we'll try it out. This will be an experimental space. Now this is a huge change from the last month, so this is really exciting. So much of my garlic is popping up now. It's really exciting to see. I think I have 17 shoots now, this being the first one, and I think this one right here is the latest little baby. Surprisingly, the hardneck garlic is doing the best. The softneck was planted in the first row here and not even a full row of it. I only had a little bit, so that one's been the slowest to come up, which is really interesting. And then next to it, I have a row of beets. This is the Cylindra variety from Baker Creek, and some of them are doing better than others. I have some backup still in my greenhouse back at the house, but these ones are looking better, whereas these ones are starting to get some yellow tinge to their leaves. So not sure about that. I'll have to keep an eye on it. And then in the next row, I have a row of onions. These are onions that I grew from seed. They're just doing so well. And I even saved a space here in the next row to do even more onions, just because we cook with them so much. So in the top here, we have the Retta Florence onion. It's like a torpedo-shaped red onion. The Red Globe onion. It's like a red, round, medium-sized onion. And then I have the Yellow of Parma onion. All of these seeds, again, are from Baker Creek. Just more popular varieties. I love the reviews that people leave on the Baker Creek website. It's really nice to be able to tell kind of what works for people, what doesn't, pluses and minuses. I just really like that aspect of it. But the whole second row is going to be yellow onions. So this first row here has all 3 varieties that I purchased, but the second row is going to be only yellow onions. While I love the flavor of red onions so much, they do hurt my stomach a little bit, so I kind of have to be careful not to eat them too much. I just love the flavor, but the whole second row is going to be yellow onions. And I have multi-sown those, which is how Charles Dowding does his, so I figured if it works for Charles Dowding, then it works for me. And in case you don't know who Charles Dowding is, he is kind of like the father of the no-dig movement. You can find his videos on YouTube, and he's also on Instagram. He's super helpful and super knowledgeable, and yeah, I feel like I've just learned so much from him. So I have multi-sown my onions. My second batch are still in the greenhouse. To be honest, they are not. I sowed them after I sowed this batch here, and this batch kind of grew up the majority in the grow lights first, and they just really liked the indoor environment. The ones that I've sown for this row were only inside for a little bit, and then they've been outside in the greenhouse most of the time, and I think it's just been too cold for them out there. It's not heated, it's just like a plastic greenhouse, as you've seen from my previous videos. But I might try to sow some more indoors first, like I did for these, and just kind of leave them inside to grow on a little bit, or direct sow them. We'll see how that goes. But these are just looking smashing. I think they look so, so good. I'm really excited about those. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see it, but there are 2 rows of carrots here that I have just thinned out. So the first row is, let's see, the black nebula carrot, so it's a purple carrot, and this one's also a purple carrot. This one is the cosmic purple. So I'm very excited about those. They are planted 2 inches apart. I direct sowed the carrots and the spinach because both of these are plants that do not like to have their roots disturbed. So direct sowing is the best way to go for both carrots and for spinach. So I just kind of sprinkled the row in the last video, which you saw, and this is the progress that they've made. So they're getting bigger. I think now that I have thinned them out a little bit, they're gonna do even better because they won't be competing for nutrients next to each other. And the spinach, oh my gosh, they just love it out here. They are thriving. Look how green they are. The color on them is just fantastic. So they're absolutely loving it. We've got some of the first true leaves happening here, so hopefully I'll be able to harvest some of that in the next few months. Next up, this is something new from the previous month, and I've planted out my lettuces. They're doing okay. So the arugula, it's looking pretty good. This is a red lettuce that's not honestly doing too well. I've just not been having a lot of luck with the lettuce. The mustard greens, on the other hand, are doing fantastic, but something about just regular lettuce. This is the Marvel de Quatreson, and I also have a little gem lettuce, which is doing better than it was, I should say, but you can probably see on some of these, it's being eaten. And then these holes in the middle of the leaves are on everything over here. See, here it is happening on this leaf right here. I suspect that those holes are probably aphids. This is judging based on some research that I did online. They are munching away happily little holes into my lettuce leaves, which is really annoying. But in order to combat that, I ordered some neem oil. It's an essential oil that you can spray on it, which I think they do not like. It's an organic alternative to pesticides. So I'm gonna give that a go fingers crossed that it works and they stop eating my lettuce plants. But if they are decimated, I can always try again and direct sow some in some pots and just see how it gets on that way. Maybe it's just not the best thing for this bed. We'll see. I'll just try a bunch of methods out, but I'm determined to have lettuce. So I'm gonna do the pick and come again method. And yeah, that's just where you pick the outer leaves and then come back again in a few weeks and pick out the next leaf. So it never grows into like a full big head of lettuce or anything like that, because I just keep picking the outer leaves, and that hopefully will be enough for some salads for us soon. They are growing quite slowly out here, I think because it's still pretty cold, but lettuce is a cool weather crop, so it likes it cold, which is the case for all of these things out here. They don't mind being in the cold. No warm weather things out here yet. When planting my lettuce, I kind of staked off this area right here because I want to make sure I save some space for cucumbers. That's where I'm going to put 2 cucumber plants right here. And cucumbers need quite a bit of space to grow, I think at least 2 feet. So that's what's going to be happening over here. Nothing happening in this area of the bed yet. There are plans definitely for chili peppers over here and tomatoes in the back, and then also some tomatoes up here, but I don't really have a plan for this space quite yet. Probably flowers because I have plenty. So I planted my ranunculus bulbs in a few places, and this is one of them. And my ranunculus are just starting to sprout. They've definitely got lots of true leaves on them, so I'm really excited to see these grow up. These are a white ranunculus, I believe. I had bags of multicolor that I got from Home Depot, and then a bag of Delano white that I got from leafari.com. Over here is where I direct sowed lots of poppies in the last video. That's an Icelandic poppy that I just popped in because it was extra and I was potting up the ones that I had, and I didn't have any extra pots at the time, so I was like, oh, I'll pop it in and see what happens. So I've popped it in. We're seeing what happens. It's still alive. But these are all the direct sown poppies along here. That's probably a weed seed right there, but these are poppies. This is another area that I direct sowed poppies along here. It's kind of always, it's hard to tell what is a weed. It's hard to tell what's a weed seed that's kind of sprouted and what are actual poppies. So for now, I'm just kind of letting it all grow if it's in this area, but trying to keep this area weeded for now. But this is where all the chili peppers are eventually going to go, and then some tomatoes in the back. It's sort of hard to tell with all of the plants sitting on top of it right now, but we bought a few bags of compost and I have spread those across there. This area is going to be my dedicated flower bed. As you can see, not all of these are going to go right here, but these were all plants that were in my greenhouse. They've been hardening off slowly. So first they were in the greenhouse, then with the greenhouse with the door open for several weeks, and now they're like full on just kind of sitting out here getting used to their conditions. So these are fully ready, honestly, to be planted out. Some of them at least. The Icelandic poppies are ready, and the foxgloves, look at these. Oh, I'm so excited. These are doing so well. But yes, the poppies are definitely, some of them are ready. This one's definitely ready. Those are, and then some of these are looking a little bit scraggly. So hopefully they'll be okay once they get planted out. But yeah, but the foxglove, again, these are cool weather crops, so they love it out here. These are all of my snapdragons there and some there. I have 3 different varieties: the Royal Bride variety, which is a white one, a Chantilly mix, which is like a sherbet tone, beautiful like sherbet tone mix, and then a Madame Butterfly bronze. So very excited about that. I haven't planted these out yet. I think they still have plenty of time to grow in the cells before putting them out. They're looking so good. which has well and truly come to life. Look, we've got some buds already popping up all over. Are coming up, so the squirrels have finally left them alone. Nothing interesting for them, I suppose, anymore. And those are growing there. And we've got some more in here, along with some poppies that are dotting in. And then my sweet pea trellis. They're making their way up slowly but surely. I have had to tie them a few times, which is a good indication that things are at least happening. We've got about 3 or 4 per stake in this trellis, and if you're new here, these are sticks that I foraged in Prospect Park and have made a trellis out of. They won't climb on their own because it's like a big stick, so I do have to tie them up every so often. But the idea is that they will rise to the top, grow all the way to the top, and then by the time they get to the top they will start flowering. Or at least that's what Zoe of Swan Cottage Flowers says, so here's hoping. And then obviously I have to show you my neighbor's beautiful garden that Sarah maintains. Bursting into life. The daffodils are going over now, but oh, they were so beautiful. And look at that elderberry tree. It's coming to life. Look at that. The hostas. There was a hosta over in the corner over there, but I did take it out. I really want as much space for dahlias as I can get. But I will admire the hostas that are on this side of the garden. Look at these. Such a beautiful color. So glad Sarah has one of these. I just think they are devastatingly beautiful. They're one of my absolute favorite things to look at. This color, is it not stunning? I could just sit and look at this for hours. It smells amazing. this is my irrigation system sorted, so I'm going to put this together. And I think that's one of the last things I'll do today before heading back inside. Okay, I've just finished laying out the hose, so let me show you how it's all gonna work. So first up, I got this hose pipe splitter so that I can water all of my beds at one time. So I believe this comes in a 2 or a 4 if I'm not mistaken, so all I needed was the 2. Then these 2 shorter hoses that connect to the soaker hoses. So these are woven in here. I've got a 50-foot one here, and then I have a 75-foot one here because this one's going to take care of this bed right here and then this long bed here. So this is going in and out of the chilies bed and the tomatoes up there. And then eventually, I'm not going to do it right now, I'll do it later whenever I'm actually going to need to water this, because I don't need to water any of this at the moment. But I'll weave the rest of it along the flower bed here. So the last remaining thing that I need to get is a hose that will connect from here to the water source. I also got this Orbit faucet timer, so again, just to make it as automated and easy as possible. This Y-pipe kind of thing right here and these 2 short hoses were a recommendation from Deanna Cat. If you guys follow her on Instagram, Homestead and Chill, she is an amazing resource. So I got this idea from her because then I can water the 2 beds at once. And yeah, it's amazing and efficient. I need to make this as sustainable as possible. So anyway, the last bit that I need really is to want to get a short hose that connects from here to the water source, which is right over there. And then here's the grill that Andrew got. I'm just so excited how much progress is being made. This place is going to be amazing to hang out in for the summertime. It's just going to be this lush amazingness. This part already looks so good. I can't wait to get my flowers planted up and to see how they grow. It's just something to really look forward to. So I'm really excited. One of the things I want to start thinking about for this patio space is that there's currently no lighting out here, and I'd love to get some like fairy lights, some outdoor lights to string around here. I think that would be just the ultimate, to be able to sit out here in the summer at night and amongst the things that I've planted. It's just crazy to think that all of this I grew from seed, and just really, yeah, I'm really excited. It's just the perfect thing for right now during coronavirus, to just kind of have this thing to look forward to and to watch new things happen every day. And I'm just so excited with how everything is coming along. To think about what this place looked like before I started. By the way, just thinking about it, I'm thinking I might bury this hose in the ground so it's just like not sitting there. If you have any insight about that, these are soaker hoses, by the way. The brand is Gilmore. It was one that came well rated on online on blogs and stuff that I was reading, but if you have any opinions about whether or not I should bury those in or just leave them on top, let me know. But yeah, when I think about what it looked like, you know, in January when I started this whole transformation and like building the raised beds and planting all of the seeds, and it's just crazy what a few months have already done. And some of my friends Andrew's sister who lives in the building have said that since we started, some other people have also started gardening around us, which is just so amazing and so exciting. So I guess we've been inspiring people, which is awesome. But yeah, so I will leave you here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next garden tour. Bye.